project and things, and we're here still building it, and excited to be releasing new features all the time. We have Dreamer up here. He's the president. Beetle Dude, he's the head of development. Hubert, and I'm probably screwing up some of these titles, but Hubert is the head of the game mechanics, and SunBear is our builders program liaison with the community and also does biz dev. So we've got some really good people up here, and I'll spend a few minutes and just kind of allow them to talk about what they've been doing and what they are currently working on. And I think we'll start with Beetle Dude, considering that we had the release last night, which had a lot of really cool things in it. So Beetle Dude, would you like to talk a little bit about some of that stuff that went out and some of the things that you guys are working on over there?
Absolutely. So yeah, thanks, Fox. Yesterday we had another great release. I think everything went pretty smoothly. So yesterday we released the training quests. So the training quest on Cumberdale, there were, I think there's 8 of them, 8 brand new ones that we released, sprinkled across the map. And so hopefully people have been able to check those out and play around with those. And then we also released the vendor in Cumberdale, but on top of releasing the vendor, we also did quite a few improvements to it. So the UI is a lot more fancy looking. And then we've got kind of a cool new system in place where the vendor will kind of update prices as people purchase them and decrease over time. So making it a little bit more dynamic and variable, and hopefully kind of giving a different dimension to the way that works. So excited that we were able to get those out. That was a big release yesterday. A lot of cool things.
Yeah, that variability thing has been in the works for a while. I think that was a brainchild of Hubert. Is that right, Hubert?
Mute button, sorry. Yeah, that was. It has been. That I think that was first something that we came up with like early January. So it's been actually a while. It's always been something that's been lower priority. So we finally were able to squeeze it in this time.
That's exciting. It's a really cool feature to sort of automatically self increase and decrease based on the demand. I think it's really cool. Sorry to interrupt you, Beetle, there. So continue.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Hubert could probably explain it a lot better than I can. So, but yeah, excited that we're able to get that out. I think we're really trying to focus on not just doing straight parity when possible, trying to improve as much as we can at the same time, and improving across all realms that we're able to. So it was really exciting to get that out. And then we've got some cool stuff coming up. I've mentioned Item Bridge quite a few times, and that is on the horizon. I think we actually are going to be getting into testing first thing next week. And so hopefully,
speaking of Item Bridge, Magnus asked me to share a few updates because he's not able to make it to this one either. But he's currently building the Item Bridge. He says that he anticipates it'll be ready next week. It's pretty far along, but they're waiting for Layer 0 to sort of approve it. They'll be like reviewing it, and it's basically been built upon the technology that like Layer 0 provides. It's our first foray into that like realm, and it's really cool. He's excited about it, and I am as well. And that's also a prerequisite for Duels Season 1, which is another reason why I'm so excited for it. So once that gets out, the I guess like runway is like wide open for Duels Season 1. So expect that not too long after.
Nice. Yep, that's super exciting. That's probably the most exciting feature on the list, because that'll mean we can move almost everything over from back and forth between Harmony and DFK chain. So
Yep.
good stuff. Cool. And then yeah, we're getting really. I mean, our push for parity is getting pretty close. Actually, we're at least 2/3 of the way through everything. Fox mentioned duels. That's on the horizon. A castle zone is on the horizon as well, which will have the kind of duel master as well as some other NPCs. And then brooding and hatching as well. And then I'll mention gardening quests. I think Hubert's going to talk a little bit about that next. But getting down to the bottom of the barrel, I'm excited with just how quickly we're moving, and seeing Crystalvale really fleshed out is super exciting. Fleshed out and improved. I think doing both of those things is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's true. It like really is. I've been watching the transaction graphs over on the DFK Explorer, and every week, every release, it just increases as like we add more and more features there. We get more and more players that are there, and it just uses more and more jewels for gas. I think the amount of jewels that are being used now for gas over on that chain has increased like I think it was maybe 40 or 50x since we launched it. And it's just up and up from there, which is really cool because that is basically spending those jewels, which will then get put into the quest fund. Half of them get burned. Some of them are like rewards for the validators and things like that. And there's other things we have planned for those in the future as well. So it's a really cool like use case there and extra like utility for Jewel. But yeah, as we get closer and closer on the parity of Crystalvale with the features, we are also starting to look at some of the really cool things that we've been meaning to build for a long time. And I was actually spending a lot of time this week creating like proof of concepts and things for achievements. I'm really excited about achievements and profiles, in-game chat, and stuff like that, like with like lands and guilds. All those are things that we're starting to put on our like radar at this point. So those are the ones I'm super excited about more. But I won't talk too much about those. They're still in the very like nascent stages, but those are things we're starting to look at. Just FYI. Beetle Dude, any last things before we go to Hubert?
I don't think so. Just yeah, excited to keep building and pushing forward. Thanks, Fox.
Sweet, thank you, Beetle Dude. Hubert, want to give us an update on the game mechanics side of things, what you guys are working on, and what you're excited about?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, hey everyone. So right now, the big thing on the horizon is the gardening quest. For as far as mechanics go, just getting that all lined up. We are making a few changes to it, just to make it appropriate for Crystalvale and kind of the situation that we have right now. Like one thing we're looking into doing is with the quest fund in Crystalvale hasn't been growing, hasn't had as much time to grow, and with summoning and the price of Jewel and Crystal, I think a lot of people are doing their summoning over on Sarandale right now. So the quest fund right now in gardening is not very high. So what we're thinking is we're going to move some of the funds from the quest fund that's in Sarandale into Crystalvale, and you'll be able to garden for both Crystal and Jewel, and you'll be able to send up to 2 gardeners at once. And then we're also looking into, or we're also going to be implementing our multi-quest system as well, which will allow you to queue up all the quests that you want, or maybe there'll be a limit of how many you can do at once, but you'll be able to queue up multiple quests before actually submitting a transaction, and then submit them all as one transaction. Likewise for completing quests as well. Just should be a good improvement for people that have, well, really for everybody, but I think especially for those that use hardware wallets will have a lot fewer buttons to press to get all their quests going and completed. So we are working hard to get that implemented and want to have that implemented along with the gardening release. I know that was one complaint we had with gardening, is just doing it one at a time and having to do a transaction for each hero takes a lot longer than it does for all the other quests. So this, I hope, will alleviate that to a good extent, and excited to get that going. It will just be a bit of time to get all implemented. And yeah, I think that's kind of that's the big thing right at the moment. And we still have the things on the horizon. We still have, once feature parity is done, we'll get to the level 10 profession quest that we were essentially done on. We just had to switch focus, so we'll be getting that, which includes also pet bonuses. And there's at least one question about pets I saw in the AMA question, so I'll save that for that question. So I think that's all for me right now.
Thanks, Hubert. That's exciting about all the gardener changes, and having extra bandwidth over there on the Crystal Vale to send extra gardeners. That'll be really exciting. Let's see, SunBear. SunBear's been working with some people in the community through the Builders program and has some updates on just kind of some of the things that have been going on and some of the stuff that he's seeing. So hand it over to you,
Yeah.
SunBear.
Absolutely. And I just want to clarify, Hubert, did I hear that we're going to be able to garden for Jewel in Crystal Vale?
That is correct. Yep, we're gonna have a quest fund that uses crystal and one that uses Jewel. Since Jewel is used for gas on DFK chain, and a portion of that gas goes to a portion of that gas is going to be feeding into that Jewel fund that's used for gardening. So, yeah, we'll have two different feeds coming in on that side.
Well, I just had to stop and marvel at that because that's super exciting, and I just wanted to make sure everybody did hear that. So I'm excited about it. Yeah, hey everybody. Couple updates from my side. The Kingdom Building Committee is working hard at processing the build requests that are coming through, co-marketing requests, and Raffler applications. And lots of good consultations with our third-party community builders. We're also kind of expanding, not just consultations and using the building committee and the build site to have these applications come in, but we're also reaching out to our partners more and more, creating Slack channels with several third parties or other partners that are out there, just finding ways to really collaborate and build out our roadmap in creative ways, like we've talked about last week with PvP, but just looking at other ways to really kind of build things out in partnerships. So I'm jumping more into that. So if you are a team or a third-party builder or want to be potentially involved and have conversation about what that can look like, reach out to me, reach out on the build site, request a consultation. Let's get things talking. So we invite you to collaborate. And then I think Fox will probably talk a little bit more about the progress or plans with the Raffler here in a minute.
Yeah, that's right. And that's really exciting about all the things that have been progressing with the community. We've had a lot of people submit applications and proposals through the build program, and SunBear has been like really great. He's been like reaching out and speaking with a lot of them. I've been on some calls with a few of those other projects. We have really good and really talented individuals in our community that are excited to help and build in any way that they can. And like really it's the strength of any decentralized project to be able to leverage the community in like such a way as this. And so the ability to create smart contracts in a distributed way that can work together is really a thing that I'm very excited about. So we've been kind of talking about internally, like what are some of the features that we would love to see that are self-contained enough that we could hand it off to somebody from the community to build, and then have us like integrate it and audit it and have oversight and things like that as well. But having that partnership with individuals in the community to help add like real like use cases to our game is just amazing. So yeah, speaking of the wholesaler program, for duels we have the raffle system, which I think has been going really, really well. It's a whole sort of like a self-contained, self-regulating system that will allow players to earn raffle tickets and spend them for like the chance to win prizes, and it's really a cool new like loop there for the game. But for Duel Season 1, we're going to be doing something uh, similar on the front end, but on the back end, it'll be completely different how it works, where it'll actually have to go through a wholesale contract for the raffle tickets, where we will have to buy the raffle tickets using jewels, which will be provided from the players that are playing duels, and then those jewels will be spent to actually unlock those raffle tickets and then send them. So it'll actually like work the same way for the players, but how it works on the back end will be very different. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to open up that program to other people in the community that want to build things that will utilize raffle tickets, so that after a project is like approved for this process, it could theoretically allow players to come in and have their heroes play these other mini games that are created by other projects and earn like raffle tickets from those as well. So it's this whole new way to allow third parties to create things and create some new like really fun on-chain things that will generate transactions and generate utility for heroes and things like that. And then also like reward their players through the raffle system as well. So that is coming. It's in the works. It will be a part of Duels Season 1. We will be eating our own dog food in a sense on that, and then we'll be opening that up to other projects that have been approved and qualified. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Duel Season 1 I talked about already a bit, but that is coming soon. It's high on my list, and I'm really excited to launch that on the Crystal Vale chain over there. I saw some people asking about rewards for preseason. There will be some of those. So we'll be looking at, like what like rank you hit, and there will be certain prizes for each rank. So if you hit like rank 2, you'll get a prize. If you had any participation at all, you'll get something. If you hit rank 3, rank 4, etc., you'll get like extra prizes there. And then we'll do some kind of other raffle as well that will just look at your raw score. So there'll be things there as well. And then for Season 1 and probably like Season 2 and 3 going forward, we'll have things that are more automatic there, where after you hit a rank, you might automatically unlock some kind of special airdrop as well. So let's see. Dreamer. Dreamer has been hard at work speaking with a lot of partners. He's been speaking with other chains and things as well. So do you want to share some of the updates there, where it's at?
Sure. And maybe before I get into that, I just want to comment on some of the other things that have been mentioned here. So at Fox, you talked about that Explorer. Ava Labs has done a tremendous job at building out a really nice Explorer for their subnets. You see DFK chain, the top there, highlighted, go in. You can see the history of transactions. You can kind of time it. As we've had this priority 1 Crystal Vale parity focus, that increase that I think Fox mentioned, visualized is pretty awesome. I think recently we've been hitting over 1 million a day, 1 million transaction at how they track it a day. And I think we have about 5 days over 1 million now, so it's pretty exciting. We're nearing the 40 million transaction number. We're going to continue to follow that. You'll probably see some tweets and updates and milestones. And it's been incredibly fast and reliable. And I think what a lot of people don't see is day-to-day activity and communication between the Kingdom Studios group and Ava Labs. Our Slack channel is used heavily. Things come up on how to make things better. They are incredibly focused at like looking around corners at security and performance. I do feel from my perspective that we are important to them. The performance on that network and subnet and chain is important to them. And we all know that it's important to everybody here. So hopefully people's experience continues to be a good one as we have more things be launched there. I'm really excited to get duels over there. That's the other milestone. As I was sitting here in Discord and seeing that bot up at the right corner, I think it says 99,000 duels have been played, or getting close to that 100,000 mark. I think that'll be a really cool milestone. And I'm excited to have like it officially launch on DFK chain. And the next steps there. On my side, working with, and I saw a couple of people in chat say, I bet we're not dropping names today. It really will be a dedicated, I don't know if we call it a roundtable or announcement or something. This move is such an important one and a big one, and so much time has already been invested in the various options. It's not going to be just a light drop on an AMA, although that would be fun. And I have probably almost slipped on certain names like 8 times, and I've gone back to listen, and I'm like, okay, it wasn't clear that I almost said certain names. But yeah, we want to make sure that the marketing and the announcement is a joint effort, that we do it well. I was up late last night. The last month or so has been a preparation for a committee for, I've heard of them as the front runner option, and that committee is related to a grant that in this market would be considered sizable, but is a grant that is a fair one to help us make sure that as we take on the risk of a new chain, a new partner, all of these moves, that we also are able to pay for the development work and have a little bit of marketing budget, and really it's a two-way interview, right? We're kind of interviewing for a new partner, and we want to make sure we like them too. We want to make sure that things that we've experienced in the past that maybe we didn't like, we're doing our best to represent the community. So the committee did happen last night. I'm waiting for results here as we go into the end of the week, and if they are positive, and if a lot of the things that we've been working through, there's a lot of structure that goes into this, and milestones and KPIs and ways to measure performance and deliverables. If we could get that all cleaned up, expect an announcement for I guess I call it a roundtable, but something dedicated to that, where we'd walk through not only who the name is, who the team is that backs it, why the supporting pieces around that decision, and also the related potential tokenomic shifts as it relates to other things that we're looking at coming up this week with unlocking and so on. So there's the update. It is positive. There is progress. It is not what I think everybody, including me, wants to be able to say and drop and be excited about.
Yeah, well, I just have to say, I see all the work that goes into this, and it's a ton. And even though a lot of it can't be seen from the outside, there's a lot there, and we are moving that ball further down the field each time. Getting close. I'm excited about being able to finally hit the gas on it, basically, because we have all our stuff starting to get ready to basically push out those new contracts to a new chain. I spent some time talking with Magnus about our strategy for like the GitHub repos and like the smart contracts that we have, because when we pushed out Crystal Vale, we actually upgraded a lot of our contracts to improve certain features and to fix certain bugs and things that were there on Serendale that couldn't be fixed. So now, with us essentially having a like redo of sorts on this, we're able to include all of those updates and all those like stuff there in those new smart contracts there. So we're consolidating those into one like repo, so it's all inside of one code base. It'll be easier to maintain, easier to improve and upgrade as we go, and there'll just be a lot of new features there as well. So super stoked. Thanks for that update, Dreamer. And let's see, I think for the second part of the AMA here, we're going to go over and look at the questions on our talk site. So I'm going to switch over there in my browser. And for those that don't know, I'll stick a link here in the chat as well. But this is the site we use to collect AMA questions. Others in the community can like add their thoughts to it there as well, and we could just kind of look at those. So feel free to go look at them. We'll just be stepping down in order of upvotes. So the one with the highest amount of upvotes is a question about trying to warn users when they sell below the floor price for heroes. So it says a lot of people lost their heroes when trying to rent out their hero. where it was accidentally sold instead of just rented. So having a prompt when users are selling below floor would help. So you attach pic on what OpenSea does, and there's a picture there about what you can do to list items for sale and all that. So Hubert, any thoughts here? Others, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's that would be a nice quality of life feature for sure. I think it's you know, everything comes down to priority and what we can get in within, you know, a given week. But does seem like a nice feature, a nice quality of life feature to me.
Yeah, so to recap, we do have a lot of things in place to already prevent accidental sales. I think there's even a thing where you have to type sell or something like that. Is that correct, Hubert or Beetle? Am I
That's correct.
hallucinating that? Okay. Yeah, so there is things
That's a
in
pretty
place.
prominent warning.
And, you know, this has been a issue since the very start when we launched. And at the start, we didn't have any safeguards, I guess you'd say, except for just having or expecting our users to read the page they're on, I guess. But like there wasn't any extra hoops that they had to jump through. But we added a bunch of things to try to prevent that. But this is an interesting one about the floor price. I don't think we have anything like that right now. Okay, sorry, I had my kids run in here and I had to shoo them out. But yeah, I don't think we have anything about the floor price. Let's see, theoretically, in practice, if we were to do that, I know we have something in our Discord that shows the current floor price of heroes. I'm not sure where that data is being pulled from. I think maybe Mr. Zipper knows or is involved with that. So we could create some kind of API that just stores the current floor price. And if someone's putting something in for less than that, have a warning. I don't think that'd be too crazy hard. What are your thoughts on that, Beetle or anyone?
I mean, I think it would. It sounds like it would be a little bit of a lift on maybe the API side.
Yep.
Or, I mean, yeah, maybe we just have a sanity check that looks at if it's under 10 joule or something, we could warn them. I see Pinecone. He probably has some thoughts on it.
Oh yeah.
Pinecone,
Hey,
how's it
Pinecone.
going, man?
Hey, yeah, we could. We have the prices of the online auctions in the database, so we could just pull it out of there and have a look at. It depends on like what criteria we should compare against. If it's only the class and rarity, it's pretty easy. But yeah, we have to discuss that part of it, which criteria we're gonna use.
Yeah, that's a good point because I think the API right now supports querying heroes for sale and it can sort by price. So if we just got like the lowest price of a common warrior or uncommon like Dark Knight or like whatever, we should be able to figure out a floor price for some of those basic metrics, and maybe even just showing it as a reference would be helpful too.
Well, and this might be something that you know, that we're not able to prioritize right now, but we could set the parameters around it, and someone in the community could build it for us, and we could implement it potentially.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of really cool things that can be done with Chrome extensions. I'm almost surprised we haven't seen somebody build a DFK helper Chrome extension or something that if it's installed, it could do things like this. It could like just like add like extra things into the interface and things like that. So that would be a cool one if anyone's interested to build it. It should already be possible from the API side. Anyways, let's move on from this question. I think it's a cool idea. The next one is smart contracts, solidity, HTML game concepts, and gameplay. Has Kingdom Studios come to a decision on whether all future gameplay will be on smart contracts, or will there be stuff on top of the HTML that is given to Kingdom Studios as parental oversight? Gameplay. I'm not sure what the parental oversight bit means there. I would personally love to see a pixel action RPG on DFK. Have had several meetings with developers directing towards this outcome. I do not believe people will enjoy an economy based solely on transactions without interactive. So I think what's trying to be asked here is, is it all stuff that has to be on chain, or is there, like some room for things to be off chain? And I think, this is a thing that I've kind of changed my views on a little bit over time, because I started out like everything should be on chain, and it's sort of the driving force behind the vision of DFK at the very start. And up until now, like basically everything has been on chain, and it's been really cool and it's been really good. But it's also added a lot of constraints to the game creation process, like the game like mechanics and things. We always have to think about the like user experience, where if everything's a transaction, what does that mean for what we can do? And if like randomness is how it is on the blockchain, how does that impact what is available? How does it impact what we're able to do in smart contracts and stuff like that as well? And then even just like stuff like duels was very tricky to build, because you can't have a lot of real-time user interaction in it, or else other players could see what they're doing on the blockchain. So there's all kinds of things there to basically consider. And I think there is a lot of room in this space to create sort of like hybrids, where part of a feature could be on chain and the other part could be perhaps a like whitelisted API server that is trusted from us, that would handle some of the more complex things, and then have those roll up onto the chain as well. So there's certain things we do with our game features that might essentially like fit really well into there, I would think. But I'm curious to hear what Hubert thinks about that, and others as well.
Yeah, I think you summarized it pretty well. I mean, we have tried to make, do what we can with blockchain interactions, but yeah, if anything that, like you said, that would require real-time user input, you have to be really careful with how you do that, so you don't give, savvy people an advantage to just take advantage of those who don't, because they can see what they input. So that has been a challenge, and I agree that I think we have moved more towards looking into what we can do as a hybrid model, just so that we can have more interactive experiences and make the gameplay just more fun in general. And that's the direction we're heading with our combat system, is to do that. I wouldn't call it, what was in there, an action RPG. I don't think that's the direction that we're heading in. More of a traditional RPG style combat system. But yeah, I think that's all. I think that answers the question. But yeah.
Yep. Also, just having a look at the chat, I saw Thampolis posted a link to some proposals for Chrome extension type things, or to floor price calculators. And I think Matt DFK Alerts has a Chrome extension with some cool features. So that's awesome. That's exactly what I was like sort of talking about earlier. So it's really cool to see people in the community building those types of things. And I need to apparently spend more time looking through those. I'll make sure to do that. So yeah, but I think that's it for that question with the smart contracts and the strategy for the gameplay. Personally, I think we're going to start seeing more things that are hybrid, especially as we move into achievements and like in-game chat. Obviously, in-game chat can't really live on the blockchain effectively. It's like, could you imagine having to submit a transaction for every like chat LOL like message that you want to send? It just wouldn't be a very good user experience. So there's certain things like that where we'll have it be a hybrid, where you'll still have to basically sign in with your address, with like your MetaMask account, to prove who you are. But then it'll create you a session using JOT tokens, and then the chat will basically allow you to chat and have that be off chain, but we'll still be able to say, okay, here is Dreamer from the in-game address, XYZ, and everyone will know that, okay, this is actually you, and you're perhaps in like a certain guild or something, and it could also have that show as well. So that's an example, but there will be other things like perhaps enhanced, more like real-time things with duels, or even PvE and PvP will probably implement some of those as well. Anyways, moving on, let's see, vote. Do we get a chance to vote for frontrunners for Serendale? We did talk about this a little bit at our last tokenomics meeting, I believe it was. And it's tricky. I think what we want to do is we want to come up with the clear strategy for what we want to do and why, and we'll be explaining all those things about like, here's what we propose to do, and then put that up for a vote and say like, we propose to do this thing, and we want the community to basically like ratify that proposal. But Dreamer, any extra thoughts there or from anyone else?
Yeah, I think so. Our discussions were around the related impact and restructure and marketing efforts on the tokenomics and the structure of what would be Serendale 2.0. I think what this is asking is, will there be a vote on the different like chains that we could go to? That gets a bit more difficult because a lot of these discussions are negotiating resources, testing technologies, looking at user acquisition models, looking at apps on the different chains that we might be able to partner with, follow-on collaboration as it relates to equity raising. So it would be a vote that would be very hard to inform people on all of the inputs to say, here's all the chains we can go to. Many people might just be like, this chain is my favorite because of the unrelated factor, and therefore vote. So I don't know of the risk reward with an open vote on like what chain we can go to. So it's not going to just be like, all right, let's just lift up from Harmony and go to another chain. There's a lot that goes into it, right? We want to make sure that it's a worth it move, and if we're not getting something significant out of it, then really we would just stay where we are since it's still running, and or just consolidate everything on like one subnet.
Yep.
So I don't think there would be a vote to say all of these options, but as Fox pointed out, what we're trying to do is find a way to say, here's our detailed plan. Let's educate everybody as much as we can on what went into it. Here's potentially an infographic or one pager to make it all make sense. Here are the pros, here are the cons, and this is our proposal. We put it to a vote to get support for it to pass, rather than it be like a multiple choice. What do you guys think? These are all the options. So some of the works, we want to make sure we connect to the community. We want to make sure we educate well and have everybody's support. But more than like the support, because I really think that what we're planning for, there will be support. But I really want, in order to have like effective, high quality support, we need knowledge and understanding, and that's what is going to be our focus, is to make sure that we do our part to say why all of this makes sense in the short term and long term, and then see if the community agrees.
Yep. I agree. And yeah, that's exactly kind of what we're thinking. By the way, Dreamer, there's a bit of an echo there, just FYI. But yeah, that's there's a lot involved with this decision, and trying to find the right chain, the right team to partner with is very involved. There's a lot of things that have been going on behind the scenes to ensure that that is happening in the right way. So we for sure want to involve the community in that as early and as much as we possibly can. So stay tuned for more information there. We will for sure be having proposals and votes and things like that as we go along. Speaking of votes, we've had some questions about how will the voting work for some of the upcoming proposals. Currently, we have our site where we do votes, and it's using the X jewels that are on Serendale, along with heroes and lands, I believe, that are on Serendale. There isn't anything right now in place for Crystal Vale, and I've actually been working on that for the past week or so, trying to get a snapshot.org integration for DFK chain itself, so that we'll be able to start to look at X jewels and X crystals. Perhaps I think we're still trying to decide the strategy for the voting, but there will be a few different strategies that will be available, so that as we hold votes, we'll just sort of look at which strategies make the most sense for the vote that we're doing, and then probably even consolidate those to a single chain in the future, perhaps DFK chain, since it's sort of like our main jewel-based gas system. So that is in the works. Stay tuned for that. But for the short term, until that's ready, we'll still be doing the votes that we hold up until then on Serendale using X jewels. So have that in mind, so that when the votes do happen, if you do want to participate in those votes, you have to hold X jewels, and they have to be on Serendale for now. Okay, next question. Pet XP bonuses. Can I have some clarity on the XP bonuses from pets? During the keynote speech at Decentral, Dreamer said anyone that plays games requires you to farm or sit there and gain XP, especially at higher levels. Experience is very important. With all of the pets being equipped to heroes, they'll increase the amount of XP that they gain. So does this mean that all pets will give XP bonuses, or is there something else there? And I think Hubert could probably answer this best, so I'll pass the mic over to you, Hubert.
Yep. So yeah, the XP bonuses will be available from the start, as far as once we get the pet bonuses activated. So and they will apply to any. They'll apply to whatever quest is associated with that pet type. So if you have a fishing pet, you will get an XP bonus plus whatever bonus it has if you're doing the fishing quest with it. The experience bonus is purely based on the rarity of the pet itself. And so the more rare, the bigger the bonus you'll get from that.
Awesome. Thanks for that clarity there. I'm excited about pets. I still need to get all the pets, and I have a long way to go, so I need more eggs. Let's see. Training quests. This is perhaps a bit old now, but it says, when will the training quests start in Crystalvale? Beetle Dude?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Yep. That launched. Good job, Beetle Dude, and everyone involved in that. I know there's a lot of work with that, and it's really good to have that one out as well. Let's see, next one. Hero skill genes mapping. Can you share any insight on these two aspects of hero skill genes? How do the genes relate to skill points, for example? Will a hero spend skill points to unlock one of the available active/passive skills in their genes? And would it cost more skill points to activate a higher like mutated skill, etc.? How do the skill genes relate or map onto the hero's class? For example, do active 1 and passive 1 relate to the main class, and active 2 and passive 2 relate to the subclass, or something else? So yeah, there's a lot of things here about PvE and PvP that haven't been completed yet, or fully like released in terms of info yet. So Hubert, I don't want to share anything here that might step on your toes, so I'll just let you take this one and do you.
Okay. Yeah. So, like you said, it is still in development, so things are subject to change. So I can just tell you where the current trajectory that we have with those skills, and hopefully that'll at least give you a good sense of what we're thinking. But it is subject to change as we develop things. We may decide that it would work better differently. So. But yeah, right now the idea that we have, or the plan, is that the skill genes do not require skill points to have them. They're just a default thing that each hero gets just by virtue of how they were summoned and what their genes turned out to be. And then the use of skill points would be for the skills that are specific to that hero class itself, and subclass combinations. So. Yeah, at this point, we do not have any linkage between skill points and the skill genes.
Okay, thanks for that. Stay tuned for more information on that, is what I'll say for now. I did get a ping in the AMA questions channel from Brofessor saying I skipped a question because it got more upvotes while I was speaking. So let's go back and see. Profession. Oh, wait, what is it? Yeah, profession questing expectations. Regarding level 0 profession quests, currently it is the case that heroes with significantly higher stats are not noticeably superior at those quests, all else equal. For example, level 15 hero with 55 luck does not have a noticeably higher fishing quest return than a level 1 with 9 luck, all else equal, blah blah blah. Or sorry, I don't mean to blah 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 your question, but I'm trying to skim it. Furthermore, as stated in past AMAs, at level 10, profession quests will not be hero level gated. This suggests that profession levels can keep growing for very low level heroes, and that in the long run, hero stats really won't matter at all for professions, as they will become drowned out by super high profession skill level. This seems unbalanced and or counter to the spirit of what we see in RPG style games. It feels like heroes should have been broadly poor questers at level 1, and then should get noticeably better as they get more into the levels. Can you clarify, will there be a long-term benefit to leveling up profession-centric heroes? This is an important consideration for those of us who are investing heavily in this variety of NFT heroes. So probably another Hubert question. You wanna?
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I can go through that. I guess my first comment on just it being noticeably higher with the level 15 versus the level 1. You know, it is a gradual growth, but I would say that I think there is probably more noticeable than if you look at it from a more of a over time scale versus just an individual instance. I think you would find that you'd get, especially like eggs, that level 15 hero with 55 luck, I think would get far more eggs than the level 1 with 9 luck. It is just it grows gradually, and that is for just the level 0 profession quest. With each of the profession skill upgrades, you know, we are adding a little bit more to it beyond just having it allow you to level up your profession skill further. So the higher level quests will be better, just that you can do them. And as far as like any sort of gating, so it's gated by skill level. So yeah, you could stay level 1 and be able to do it potentially. But we also have planned for these higher level profession quests to be linked to the traveling system and linked to actually having to get your heroes to a location where they can do those quests. It'll likely not initially start out that way just due to what we have out at the time, but the eventual thing is that you will need to travel. You may be gated by some PvE things that need to occur before you can actually do those quests. So there could be other reasons why you can't get to the higher level quests. But as far as just the actual quest requirement itself is just profession skill. So yeah, I don't think that it's unbalanced between low level and high level. I think we are working towards that. It's just the state of the game right now is still very early on in terms of progress, and we're needing these bigger features like PvE and PvP and travel to come into place for it to really click, I think, for everyone to like see how it will all fit together and grow into a much more interactive and involved experience.
Yeah, it was my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Hubert, but as heroes sort of like level up their questing skill level, that will unlock access to those higher level quests for those professions, and those higher level quests will result in like rewards that are better as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Yep. So that's sort of how that works. Stay tuned. Let's see if I skipped over any other ones that got upvoted. Gaia's Tears. Okay, yeah. Regarding level 0 profession quests, currently... Oh, I'm reading the wrong one. Gaia's Tears. So we know that the tiers have a drop rate for fishing foraging of 5 to 7.5 and 7 to 10.5 for the other quests. Get 10 XP per successful tier roll. Sometimes you can get 2 tiers and get 20 XP, and sometimes you only get 10 XP. This suggests that a tier roll is ranged from 1 to at least 2. That's correct. That's how it was coded, I believe, when you do find tiers, you get another roll and it figures out how many tiers you get, whether it's 1, and I think it actually goes to 10. Is that right, Hubert? If you're like really lucky, you can find 10 from 1 find.
Yes, on Serendale. That's
Yes.
actually something that has changed with the Crystalvale quests. On Crystalvale, you can only get 1 per successful attempt.
Okay. Interesting little tidbit there. But so each time that you find a tier on Serendale, you can find multiple tiers. You still just get the 10 XP for finding any of those. But if you're doing multiple attempts, you could find multiple 1-tier finds on 2 different attempts within the same run, I guess you could say. And that could result in 20 XP on Serendale. So that's kind of why you see that, I think. Is that correct what I'm saying there, Hubert?
Yeah, right. Yeah, with tiers, we have so many tiers at this point. I think at the beginning when we first launched, there were so few tiers, and that it caused kind of a bottleneck for summoning at the very start. And I think we turned up tier drop a little too high. And so this is the kind of adjusting things, so it'll be just 1 per drop, and likely we'll see that change apply later down the road on Serendale as well, but right now I don't have plans to change it.
So if you guys want more tiers, then continue to quest on Serendale. There will be much tiers all around as you try to quest on Harmony. But if you want no tiers, then go to Crystalvale. Sorry, that's a little bit facetious there. You'll still get tiers on Crystalvale, but it is, in my opinion, a really good experience over there on the jewel-based chain there. It's just really fast and smooth. I always love like running my quests there. So let's see how much time we got. Okay, about another 7 minutes. We'll hit a few more of these, and some of the other ones we might save till next time, but let's see. Item prices and vendor are mismatched. Done some research recently. Wait, how old is this question? 5 minutes ago. Okay. Why are the drop rates of 3-eyed eels the same, if not less, but half the price of pincers? Is there some future content plan for the pincers? Hubert, do you know the answer to this one?
A lot of questions for me today.
Yeah.
Yes, the intent there is the 3-eyed eel is going to have additional utility. There's what we call the gold crops from the quests, which are mainly used for just as a means to get gold, and the king crab is one of those. Whereas the 3-eyed eel has other intended utility coming in the future. So that was kind of the rationale for the price difference on selling.
Cool. Next question. Ethereum layer 2. As Ethereum is where most of the activity exists for DeFi, did you consider deploying on ETH layer 2, for example, Arbitrum Nova, or later this year's ZK Sync? I think DFK would absolutely explode on either of those. There was a lot of things that went into the consideration when we were trying to look at chains for a potential home for this project. And we did look at a few different ideas. One of them was Polygon-Matic, which is sort of seen as a sidechain to Ethereum. ETH Layer 2, I've been really excited about. I'm a huge fan of Ethereum itself. Obviously, it's really pioneered a lot of things in the space. As the merge starts to happen and as Ethereum 2 starts to get out there, we'll be closely looking at that and seeing, like how it looks for projects to launch there and like what it means for gas and all that. Because as a on-chain game such as we are right now, it is very important that we have very cheap transaction costs and also like really fast speeds. Ethereum 2 will bring a lot of that, so it'll be interesting to see what impact that actually has on the costs and if it will ever be feasible for that. And then as far as Arbitrum Nova or ZK Sync go, I'm very interested in ZK Sync. I think there's a lot of really cool opportunities there for us. I don't know a lot about Arbitrum Nova. I need to look into that more, so I'll add that to my list. But just some insight there into sort of what we're thinking about. Hopefully that helps to answer that. Let's see. We're actually getting towards the bottom. Transferring items from Serendale to Crystalvale. Are we going to be able to send eggs, pets, and items? So the item bridge is coming. It will handle a lot of those. I believe eggs will be included in that because they are items. But I don't think you'll be able to hatch them until we add the pet hatchery over there. So that's part of the stuff there with the feature parity. Beetle Dude, I'm not sure if that's soon or if it's going to be a little while.
I think we're working. I think Magnus has been working on a pet bridge with Synapse as well. So I think it's in process, but I don't know that we have a set deadline for that quite yet.
Cool.
It's progressing though. Yep.
All right. So there's that answer. Vendor potion prices. Never understood why the prices of the potions are so high. Why is it 3,000 gold at the vendor, but you can craft one at the alchemist anytime for 300 gold plus 95 gold worth of items. Now at the vendor update, the min value for health value is set to 3,000 gold, same as prior static price. Why would anyone ever buy from there? Am I missing something? Hubert, thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the intent there, and that the potion system was put in very early on, when we still had combat really far out. So I think until combat is in place, we probably won't see that much movement on some of those potions besides just using them for making enhancement stones, or any other use we add in. And so I guess the intent though there was, if the price of those ingredients, like once potions become more utilized, the expectation is you'll see the ingredient value of those potions go up, and that at some point there may be a balancing there, but we may also want to look at just the potion prices, and we could potentially bring them down somewhat. But it was supposed to be, if you bring the ingredients to craft the potion yourself, it's not as expensive as if you just buy it from the alchemist who has to mark up his prices and stuff. But yeah, we can always revisit like the minimum prices in the future if we feel that they need to change. I think at the moment, I think that's pretty low priority until we get combat going.
Sweet. Thanks for that. There's one more AMA question here, and then that's all of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit it, even though we're starting to get pinched for time. Dueling ranking mechanics are bugged. When will the bug allowing higher ranked players to fight against up to 3 ranks below them, considering myself for prime rank, being so consistently put up against rank 4? It's absolutely foul. 200 to 400 Jewel roughly lost from this in the past week alone. Explanations. Yeah, so basically a question about like matchmaking. This one is tricky because it kind of depends on how many players are playing at any given time. If there's not as many players playing at any given time, then the matchmaking system isn't able to match you as easily with other people that are exactly the same rank as you. So it's kind of having to balance it between, would you rather play quicker, or would you rather like wait for longer until somebody that's really close to your rank is able to join? And it seems like a lot of people might sort of like be on the side of, I would rather wait longer, and that might be something that we do there to help to balance it. But with Duels Season 1, I'll be adding in some things there that will allow us to kind of add sliders in the settings to be able to set that so that it's more towards one or towards the other, so that it will allow for like some better things there for matchmaking. Another thing that we'll be doing too is adding some extra points there in the matchmaking system, where it will also look at the heroes like levels that are being put in, and basically try to include that into the calculation as well. So we are planning some changes on that. Stay tuned, but it is a thing that we're going to have to periodically balance as it increases there as well. So that's all for those AMA questions. There was one in the channel just now that got put. Releasing quest levels 1, 2, 3, etc. at the same time. Higher tier questing is far behind where the heroes are at naturally without stamp potting. I think that's a thing that the profession quest levels are coming really soon. That's like high on our list. So I think that will take care of that one. I'm not sure about releasing 1, 2, and 3, etc. at the same time. I think you might be meaning like the basic and then like level 10, level 20, and 30, because I think we go in increments of 10, unless I'm misunderstanding that question.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So yeah, that's just a thing that we're gonna be doing more once we get more bandwidth from the stuff we're doing right now with the feature parity. Anyways, that's all the AMA questions. That was a lot. Thanks for sticking through it with us, everyone. Hopefully we answered a lot of the questions you guys have. If we didn't, feel free to go put them on the talk site. That's what that's there for. We always love to hear the feedback from the community. We always love to address and answer as many of those questions as we are able to. And it's also just like really good to see what concerns you guys have as our important members of this project in the community. So a huge huge thank you to all of the participants here. We had SunBear, Beetle Dude, Hubert, Dreamer, and myself. I'm gonna just allow for some closing remarks from everyone. So we'll just try to head in the same order that we did at the start. So Beetle Dude, Hubert, SunBear, and then Dreamer, and then I'll close it up.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yep. I mean, I'll just reiterate what I said before. You know, we're excited to be bringing parity to Cumberdale. It's going smoothly. We're making good progress, and we'll be getting things aligned pretty quickly, a lot quickly than I think we maybe thought at the beginning. So it's been exciting. Looking forward to continue that process and get everybody over to Cumberdale. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Beetle.
Great.
Hubert?
Yep, I just kind of echoing what Beetle Dude said. I'm excited to be seeing Cumberdale coming alive. It's nice that we got training quests and we're almost there with all just the current quests that exist. So looking forward to having that all complete. And I said this in the other AMA as well. Just also looking forward to being able to start adding some of those features that we've had kind of put aside to get the feature parity going. So it's all coming soon. So looking forward to it. And yep, that's all I got for now.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together. SunBear.
Yeah, you know, I've just been sitting here listening to, and you know, what we're sharing with everyone, and thinking about like what do we want people to know we're about? Like, what are our values? What is this? And I just kind of think about what kind of drives us as a team, and you know, community, of course, is one of those words that comes up because we want to build with and for our community. It's one of our main values. Transparency, I think you see even with the AMA and the different ways we try and you know, show what's going on and getting your feedback, getting your support, you know, especially about big changes or whatever it might be. It's another big one of our big priorities. Producing excellent product. Like this team does not push out something that isn't gonna have the best chance of being successful or run well or like balanced. I mean, just digging into Hubert's brain and how he plans ahead with all the different things that are released. There's just nothing haphazard about it, which I just so appreciate. And then just, you know, thinking too about how we're going about this change in where we put Serendale, where we launch Serendale 2.0. Like we strive to create super solid business decisions and do it in a process that is thorough, complete, and in everybody's best interest. So it does take time. I know we want it faster, but if you could just see some of the meetings and conversations and proposals that are being prepared and responses to questions from partners that we're looking into, front runners and everything, it's remarkable. And then just like one of our main values of just doing solid decision making around this project. So just want to say thank you to everybody. Just want to share some of those thoughts around there, and bullish. Have a great day.
Thank you, SunBear. Dreamer.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm somebody that is a big fan of like motivational quotes and metaphors and analogies, and usually in the morning I like to start with one. And there's one that stuck out to me. I just thought I'd share here because I go by Dreamer. I think in my mind I was very, very logical, and I worked almost a decade as a risk manager, where you're constantly thinking of worst case scenarios. You're constantly questioning everything, and being overly realistic, sometimes can be detrimental to the dreaming and the creative process. And everything that we have live in DeFiKingdoms today started in the brain, where communicated as a suggestion within the team or a contributor or the community. And the quote that I'm going to share today that kind of lifted me up, that I want to leave people with, is I was watching this. It was on like Instagram or something. It was what was the best piece of advice you've ever heard? And it was to accept that it might be better than you could even imagine. And what is the worst advice? To be realistic. And I've been like a realist so much of my life that to counter that, I try to push limits and set realistic goals, and to wake up every day and see how we can accomplish them, and check in, and then adjust accordingly. And I think that in this market, everybody's on this call today, everybody's on this team and contributed thus far and stuck around, and we say that we're building in the bear market, but we're really dreaming. We're thinking of new ideas. We're not only thinking of surviving, we're setting that foundation. But I think Hubert, in one of the responses today, said, reminded us all that we're still so early in this process. We're creating all of these pieces real time. It's not just any game that's been out there. It's not just anything in Web3 that is out there. We're trying to take all these pieces and make something that's better than all of us combined even realize it could be. And that gets me really amped. It gets me really excited, especially because in the back of my mind, I'm always fact-checking and being overly realistic and thorough, and making sure we have the right input and decisions, and professional. We have to remember to dream, even when we're not in the middle of a bull market, even when every day we don't wake up high-fiving and it's all good news. That balance is key. That was a really good message for me to hear this morning, and I just wanted to share it here. Bullish.
Bullish. Thank you, Dreamer. It's true. We have to dream, You always have to remember, here's where we're at. Here's the realistic steps we're taking for that next step, But having a step back and just looking at what could the future hold? What could this be? And there's a lot of amazing things there. I think that's why we're all still here. That's why we're all still excited and still here building and excited and working on it. So for me, I guess my updates are pretty much the same. We're here, we're building. It's been almost a year since we've launched this project. It's amazing to see how far it's come, and all of the amazing stuff that has been built, and all of the awesome individuals in our community that I've been able to meet and interact with. And it's just really a blessing to be able to work with all of you guys. So yeah, just especially this week, I hit the ground running, and I was just had all these amazing ideas about achievements. I was we got to implement achievements and guilds and lands, and it's just all these things. So I'm just, there isn't enough time in our individual days to build everything that we want to build, but just every day having those steps get put in place so that we are able to see those really cool features built. So that's what I'm excited about this week. I'm excited to still be here, still be working on this amazing project with our team, and I'm still very, very bullish. And just want to say thank you to everyone on our team for participating, and also a huge round of applause to everyone in our community who's here asking all these questions and hearing these calls. So thanks for coming, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bullish.
Bullish.
Whoosh.
Bullish.
Bullish.